Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down SEC filings to find the real story behind the numbers. And today we have Astrana Health's latest 10Q for the quarter ending June 30, 2025. And let me tell you, there's quite a bit to unpack here, folks, so make sure to stick around, especially if you're interested in the healthcare sector. Before we dive in, if you appreciate getting straight insights from these complex documents, make sure you're subscribed and ring that bell. Also, we have a fantastic community on Discord where we discuss these filings in real time, link in the description below, so you don't want to miss out on that. All right, let's get right into it. This is Astrana Health's quarterly report, a look at their performance and financial health for the 3 and 6 months ending June 30th of 2025. First off, a little background. Astrana functions as a healthcare company that focuses on helping doctors manage patient care, especially for those with government insurance like Medicare and Medicaid. They're all about making healthcare more about value and quality rather than just the volume of services. Now for the financial meat and potatoes. Let's look at their balance sheet. As of June 30th, 2025, their total assets were about $1.44 billion. That's a good jump from about $1.35 billion at the end of December 2024. On the flip side, their liabilities also went up from around $840 million to over $194 million. This is a pretty standard picture for a growing company involving acquisitions. Looking at their income statement for the 3 months ending June 30th, 2025, total revenue hit a cool $654.8 million. That's a big jump from $486.3 million in the same period last year, a 35% increase. The main driver here seems to be capitation revenue, which jumped a huge $171.5 million. That's largely thanks to their recent string of acquisitions. However, with that increased revenue came increased costs. Their cost of services, remember this is the money spent on patient care, shot up by $164 million or 40%. This growth in expenses is right in line with their revenue growth, which is a good sign. But even with those rising costs, their income from operations was $23 million for the quarter. That's down from $30 million in the same quarter last year. So while they're bringing in more money, their profitability in core operations took a hit. And when you factor in everything else, their net income attributable to Astrana Health Inc. for the quarter was $9.4 million. That's a significant drop from $19.2 million in the same period last year, a roughly 51% decrease. Now, the company also provides something called adjusted EBITDA, which is a way to look at operating performance before certain non-cash items and unusual expenses. For this quarter, it was $48.1 million. That's pretty much flat compared to $47.9 million last year. This tells us that while the net income is down, their core operational earnings before those specific adjustments are holding steady. That's interesting. Now let's zoom out to the first 6 months of the year. Total revenue came in at a huge $1.27 billion. This compares to $890.6 million last year, a massive 43% increase. Again, capitation revenue is the big story here, up by almost $390 million, largely due to those acquisitions we mentioned. But their costs are also up significantly, with cost of services increasing by $382.7 million or 51%. This led lower net income for the 6-month period. Net income attributable to Astrana Health Inc. was $16.1 million. That's down from $34 million in the first half of last year, a drop of over 50%. Their adjusted EBITDA for the first half of the year was $84.5 million. This is down from $90.2 million last year. So even with the revenue boom from acquisitions, their profitability is being squeezed, likely due to higher operating costs and administrative expenses to support this larger, more complex operation. Let's break down their segments. The Care Partners segment is their biggest revenue generator, bringing in $631.4 million for the quarter. That's a 36% increase year over year. And the operating income here is strong at $49.7 million, up 23% from last year. This segment is clearly driving the company's growth. The Care Enablement segment, which provides technology and administrative services, brought in $40.9 million in revenue. That's a 13% increase from last year. However, their operating income in this segment significantly decreased. It dropped from $6.9 million to just $1.8 million. This is because, as the report mentions, they've increased their workforce to support this growth, leading to higher costs. They are managing more IPAs, which means more work for their enablement segment, driving revenue up, but also costs up more significantly. Now, about risks. This report mentions upcoming regulations, specifically the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed in July 2025. This law could change how Medicaid and Medicare programs work, potentially affecting eligibility requirements and benefit structures. Astrana acknowledges this could lead to a smaller patient base or reduced revenue from these programs. They also anticipate stricter provider tax rules, which could impact their hospital operations. It's a pretty significant regulatory shift they're keeping a close eye on, and there's a big risk tied to their recent major acquisition of Prospect Medical Holdings. It turns out some entities within Prospect that were part of the sale have filed for bankruptcy. This could mean they might not fulfill their contractual duties related to the sale, and Astrana might have to absorb some of those costs. Plus, the bankruptcy filing limits Astrana's ability to recover any losses. This is a big one to watch closely. Let's look at that reconciliation table for adjusted EBITDA. It shows how they adjust net income to get to adjusted EBITDA. They add back interest, taxes, depreciation, and other non-cash or non-recurring items like stock-based compensation. This helps give a cleaner picture of their operational performance. Now, my take on Astrana Health. Their revenue growth from acquisitions is certainly impressive, showing they can scale effectively. The Care Partners segment is performing well, which is great. However, the drop in net income and the increase in operating costs, particularly in general and administrative expenses and other costs, are concerning. It seems like integrating these new businesses is proving costly, and those costs are impacting their bottom line more than anticipated. The bankruptcy of some Prospect entities is also a significant risk that could lead to unexpected expenses and operational headaches. They're navigating a dynamic healthcare landscape with regulatory changes and integration challenges. Of balancing growth with profitability will be key. The steady adjusted EBITDA suggests their core operations are resilient, but they need to get those net income figures moving in the right direction. Alright, that's our deep dive into Astrana Health's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do those acquisitions justify the increased costs and lower net income? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And again, don't forget to join our Discord community for live discussions and more insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.